consider ourselves on notice. This is what it is. This is effective immediately. So we have to stand into our self-determination as a black people. That says if these systems, these programs, these things that were put in place to try to move the needle and level the playing field just an inch are going to decide they're going to roll back, then we have to go forward. Hey y'all, I'm Ebony K. Williams here, host and attorney extraordinaire. Welcome to Holding Court, where we analyze the very latest in legal headlines, the ones that got all the streets talking. You know what we do? We dig deep into how the courts impact the culture. We break it down, going straight from gavel to your news feed. And every week, we keep it 100. Right, Dustin Ross?
That's right.
All right, so here's our docket for today, Mr. Ross. It's a good one. It's a mix. We're going to start with a little celebrity family court.
Okay.
By way of Jeezy and Jeannie Mai. So much has happened since we've been on hiatus from this one. But this was a timely one because now Jeezy's fighting for sole custody. Yes, he is, of their 2-year-old daughter. So we're going to get into it. We also have Honey Boo Boo. Now, you know, it takes a lot
for her to be talked about on this show.
That's that's what I was gonna say.
I know.
It's a cold day and it's a rare day.
Yes, it is.
In which we venture into the terrain.
Flying. Yes, pigs flying across the sky.
Of white folk on Holding Court.
That's right.
We've only done it really 2 other times. That was for Britney Spears and for Kim and
Croy.
And Croy, that husband of hers. But we're going to make it a triple threat with Honey Boo Boo.
Yes.
Because it's worth talking about.
Let's get ghetto.
We're going to get real ghetto in this trailer with Honey Boo Boo and talking about when is it too much from the family sucking you dry financially and when it's time to go ahead and bust a move.
See ya.
Yeah. And then this third one now I'm going to get on my soapbox about. This is Duke University. And if you know, like any good Tar Heel, I say poo-poo on Duke.
Yes.
But I'm going to put a little bit of that pettiness aside, Dustin, today because Duke University has done something that really pisses me off and it really actually hurts me. And I think we need to pay attention to it, Dustin, because it ain't going to just be Duke. This is going to trickle down, and I mean emphasis on down. And that Duke has ended full ride scholarships for black students in the wake of what the Supreme Court has done to affirmative action. And I got to raise the alarm on it. We got to talk about it here on Holding Court because the culture needs to know that this is what is coming. Okay, and Duke might be in the headlines today, but it's going to be your alma mater, your cousin's alma mater tomorrow. And we got to talk about it. So here we go. Let's go hold some court. All right, Dustin, following, it seems like it was just yesterday. Jeezy and Jeannie Mai were getting married.
Absolutely.
They were on all the best dressed fashion couple.
They were.
Not even 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm to be honest, the shock of their initial pairing hasn't even worn off for me yet.
Well, that's a good point.
So I'm still like, I can't believe it was together. They got a whole baby, and I'm still like, I can't believe they even got together.
Baby about to get Social Security.
That's right. Okay, baby driving. Okay.
Baby gonna get to retirement before me and you. Okay, so y'all do know Jeannie and Jeezy were together. They are no longer together. A lot has happened in terms of she saying she found out on social media. Remember that? He's like, that's not true. It's a lot. Literally, this is the he said, she said divorce of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Of the century.
Of the century. But now it's gotten really sad. It's always worse when the babies are involved, right? So they do have a very adorable little 2-year-old. Her name is Monaco.
Yeah.
Very sweet little girl. And now Monaco is at the center of what has now turned into a very bitter, very vile, very nasty custody dispute. So, and I want to be clear here, the divorce itself is not final, but he has filed, and Jeezy did file, and some of those things do matter. Jeezy filed in 2023. He has now filed a motion in Fulton County, Georgia. Shout out to Fulton County. No, the case, right? I would say no. The case is not going to be held by Bonnie Willis. It's not. It's a different court. It's family court and criminal court. It's different.
Okay.
But also in Fulton County, Georgia, this is Jeezy declaring that the toddler Monaco would have more stability if he were granted primary physical custody of the child. And I wanted to talk about this because, yes, they're names we know, but also, Dustin, we really need to have a broader conversation as a culture, as a black culture, in that it is a day gone by where there used to be this default presumption that the mama gets the custody.
Right.
that the mama gets the primary custody. And there's reasons behind that. And I might surprise some people. I actually think this is a good thing. Now, I'm not saying Jeezy should get custody here. We'll go through those details. I can't make that determination. But what I can say is there's only one law when it comes to family law and child custody. And that law is the best interest
of the kid,
of the child. That's it. I don't care if you got ovaries or testicles. That the law does not recognize that distinction.
Yep.
The law does not even recognize who the birth situation. You know, the law says it is in the best interest of the child, which shall determine the ruling of custody.
Jeezy gonna get custody. You seen Jeannie, my mama?
Yeah.
And don't she live in the house? That baby ain't gonna get no sleep.
That's part. If y'all haven't seen Jeannie Bye's mom,
you're gonna get the joke when you do.
Yeah, I was like, Dustin is referring to the plentiful content.
Okay, you talking about eccentric?
My goodness.
My God.
Talk about a mother living vicariously through their child.
I've been and told my grandmama to shut up.
Yeah, talking about trying to upstage.
The
seriously.
Talent.
Yeah,
sit down somewhere. Sat down somewhere, mama. It's all your damn fault. All this shit going on.
Too much. And actually, jokes aside, that's Jeezy's claim. Jeezy's claim is that little Monaco is not even with her mother. She's not even with Jeannie Mai. She's always with that mama and the caretaker.
That's right.
And he's like, well, if you're just going to go on the road and work, which Jeannie Mai is doing, obviously since the cancellation of the Reel, shout out to all those ladies.
Yes.
They've all had to kind of go back to conventional work formats.
Yeah.
So we see Lonnie Love on the road, making her bag and hosting different things. We see Adrienne Bailon. She was doing the News for a minute. I think she said, and actually this is correlated, right? I think to some extent, Adrienne came out and said she left the E! News gig, which was a sweet gig, a coveted gig, because she also has a young son. She had a really long and tumultuous. Thank you. Yep. She had a long and tumultuous fertility journey.
Yes, she did.
And has been blessed with a beautiful baby boy with her husband, Israel. Her son, I think, is less than 2, younger than Monaco, because I remember Jeannie being pregnant on the Reel and that being they were vulnerable. And Adrienne talked about how she is so happy for her friend Jeannie to be pregnant, and yet it is hurtful for her to see a woman succeeding in her fertility journey, where at that time she was still in her struggle. She has since had this beautiful son, and she basically said that the daily hosting grind was taking up too much time from her mothering the way that she wanted to.
Yeah.
So she took a step back, and she's primarily mothering and doing some other projects that afford her to be home more
with her baby boy.
So,
Ever James, I think is his name.
Really
right?
cute
I
little
like
name.
That.
Yeah. And I gotta laugh at myself because I'm Israel Houghton, and I only know it's Houghton because I had him on Revolt Black News when I was hosting that moons ago, and we were in pre-production, and I said, "How do you say this gentleman's last name?" And they said Houghton. I said, like Hotep. I said, okay.
Israel Hotep. He looked like him and that baby looked just like, because Israel looked like a baby.
Yeah, he do. He's a very baby-faced individual.
Baby body.
Yeah.
He looks like a baby. Literally, like him and that
baby body.
Yes, I did. We telling the truth in season 3.
Yeah, man, listen, we're staying on brand with the reckoning. All the truth will come out.
It will
not be under the table.
That's right.
Not this season.
That's right.
Well, listen, that's hysterical. Yeah, Mr. Houghton. So back to Jeannie. Jeezy's claim is that she is on the road, she's filming, she's on site, she's on, away, and that their daughter is instead being left to be primarily cared for, keyword there, primarily, by hired help and a grandma. And he says, well, if that's what you're going to do, give my baby to me. Yeah. Because I'm a pappy.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at the claim. At least
I'm not either. This is we hear so many claims about father showing up in different ways or not showing up. This is a great example of him standing on business as a father, right? And at least trying to establish some sort of structure and normalcy for his daughter.
And who could fault him? Who could fault him? Now, there's going to be an argument that says, oh, well, this is him trying to evade child support. And I want to be clear. We don't have any evidence of that in this case. Now, can we have a conversation about some men out here that are recognizing for the first time generationally that instead of paying child support as a secondary parent, you can either lower your child support or you can eliminate it altogether when you have primary custody. Yeah, Dustin, that's a thing. That is a thing. I'm going to just keep it a buck with you because that's what we do here at Holden Court. Ladies, if you are out here in these streets and you are hedging your bets, pinning your wagon to getting pregnant intentionally by a man with means under the premise that this will become income for you, I want you to rethink that. I'm going to say it one more time. I need you to rethink that as a business strategy, because there was a time in which that was commonplace. Again, shout out to Funky Fridays with Cam Newton. I was listening to his interview with Jason Lee. Really, I thought dynamic, fantastic conversation. Agreed with some, didn't agree with others. And to me, that's how I know it's a dynamic conversation.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? This is not about...
And that's okay.
It's better than okay. Yeah. That's how we grow. That's how we expand. That's how we, kind of can elevate our thought and consciousness. Consensus is overrated. Quote me on that shit. But
shout out to Jason Lee too. I saw him in LA crossing the damn street.
Did he get a new number?
I'm not sure. We were crossing the street and ran right into each other in the middle of the street. He congratulated us on our win.
Yeah, Jason has always shown us love and definitely big shout out to him. I think his Hollywood Unlocked Award is coming up this summer.
Good.
And he always is trying to get us there, but we're always but we're gonna make it happen one of these days soon. But Cam Newton. So Jason Lee in the interview, the part that is had a viral moment was when Jason was talking about men dropping dick off. That's it, and not doing much else, and having children that they did not show up for, that they did not and do not care for, and the only time you see him is propping the baby up in some matching flannels for the Christmas photo as an ornament. Yeah, I didn't hear a lot of lies told there. And that is a thing. And then Cam, retorted with, but there's also a lot of women out here that are seeking men with money to have babies for, when men have track records of not showing up as fathers in any way. And then they're shocked and appalled.
When it goes that way.
When it goes that way. So I thought both were interesting arguments. I thought both had credibility because if you've lived long enough, you have seen both play out in real time. So again, I want to say, ladies, for those of you that were looking for that old school bag, because it's an obsolete bag.
There's been an iOS update.
Listen.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you don't want to download it, bitch, you got to.
It's coming.
You got to. This is going to be like that U2 album. That's right. It's going to automatically upload to your phone.
I think that shit is still on my phone. I was so damn mad.
Because you can't get it off.
Oh, my God.
You can't get it off.
And I love you, too, but goddamn it.
You could have gave me a single, though.
Right.
That's like the whole album.
It would have had the same effect.
Take it up all my
man.
That's a mess. But no, ladies, for real, Auntie E is here to tell you that day is gone. Okay? It's a new day. Men are seeking custody, and they are getting it.
Yep.
And they are getting it. Because if they can make a compelling argument to any judge in this country, male, and don't be persuaded when you walk in court and you see a woman on the bench, oh, we got this. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm telling you what I know. That level of gender parity and equity is running both ways.
Yeah.
And I think if you're serious about saying you want a new level of equality and equity as it relates to gender and or race and or sexual orientation, all these things, they all have to go together. So you can't say you want parity here, but you want favoritism over there. Don't work that way. So, know this, ladies, if you are not demonstrating ability to be a primary caretaker because of your work hours, because of your other children, because of your dating preferences, and you here there, and the child's father can go to court and show the Instagram documentation where you here, there, and everywhere on vacation with this dude and that dude and your other, ma'am, you will likely lose custody. And some women are going to be mad to hear it, and they're going to be mad hearing me as a woman say it. But that's what it is.
Well, you're bringing this to people's awareness so that they can have a full understanding that is a popular outcome now. Like these days, it's happening more often than it has previously.
Be on notes. This is your service announcement.
Right.
Consider yourself on notice per Holden Court Episode 2, Season 3. If you did not, and we've talked about it before, but I think this Jeezy Jeannie Mai situation is a perfect updated example because Jeannie Mai is not by any stretch a deadbeat mom or and no way, he's not even claiming that, and that's the point. That is not the threshold. See, it used to be a time where if you were a woman to, quote, have your kids taken away or lose primary custody, you had to be strung out on drugs. You had to be literally out in the streets tricking. You had to be like such a horrific caretaker that the kids were taken from you as a punitive measure.
Yes.
Okay? I'm old enough to remember that.
Yeah. Same.
Right? That day is gone, ladies. It is now y'all walking into court in equal positioning, father and mother. And the court will determine, the judge, the singular judge will determine per their reading of the facts, which of you has made the most compelling case for stability for this child's life. Not your other children, this child.
Yeah.
Okay? They're going to be looking at who has the most availability to be home. They're not even looking at who has the most money, because that historically has been where men maybe have had an advantage.
Right.
They don't care about that, because once again, if the argument is I got the most money, but it's really going to be 3 nannies and a night nurse raising the child, the court is not persuaded by that. It's not going to be who has the biggest house. It's going to be who has the most clean, healthy, stable living circumstance. And that's it. That's all.
Well, hey, a new day.
Hey.
Women are clearly out earning. I think
Say it.
The children need to go to the best parent that's available, period, whether it's the mother or the father.
Yep.
And I think that there are a lot of toxic moms that have been afforded the luxury of having that safety net that, well, my kids ain't going nowhere anyway.
Absolutely. It's a lot of toxic moms who have weaponized these children. Literally, and that's actually part of Jeezy's claim too, real quick. So Jeezy's also saying that Jeannie and her mother have
and your mama.
And you and your mama.
You and your damn mama.
That's what it said in the court document. Mama. have intentionally limited the time that Jeezy gets with Monaco, despite a previously agreed upon schedule. Because that's the thing. When you started, like when he filed for divorce, one of the first things that went into place, Dustin, was what we call a temporary child custody agreement. That says, this is your time, this is my time. Well, when people start deviating from that, which happens, especially when the divorce gets long. Why? Because all these things are happening at the same time, Dustin, right?
So
there's this custody piece that we supposedly have a temporary agreement in place, but what's also happening? Our lawyers are back channeling a financial settlement, and that's probably getting nasty. And see, some of the nastiest divorces are these short-term marriages.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
They really are. Yeah. Because it's a situation where both people brought some level of assets to the table. They might not have been equitable, but nobody came in broke, and ain't nobody leaving broke, and ain't nobody trying to leave with you getting a whole lot.
Yeah.
You know, and yet here we are. And yes, I know prenup. I've been hearing a lot about this. I want to put this myth to bed. Prenups are great. I'm in favor of them. Dustin has said there's no way you would get married without one.
Hell no.
Okay. They are excellent tools, but they are not foolproof. I have seen too many prenups, what we call being set aside, especially recently, because a good lawyer can pierce a prenup and make it feel like it never even existed. How about that?
How can you avoid that?
Well, that's another episode for another day. You got to keep on listening to Holding Court.
Okay, because we're gonna have to deep dive. Because I'm like, well, what the fuck we supposed to do?
I know. So that's not on the docket today, Mr. Ross, but it will be.
I ain't trying to jump ahead.
Yeah, you trying to leak what we got. Right. What you trying to do? You know, one this little NAACP award trying to give all the good shit away.
Okay, I almost walked off with all our stuff. Like for Color Girl, somebody walked off with all my stuff. Yes.
You so crazy. No, but we will talk about putting a prenup aside and piercing a prenup and what it takes legally to meet that threshold, because we need to. So my point here, though, is that they had a prenup, Jeezy and Jeannie, and yet here we are. And yet here we are in the midst of this nastiness. And now it's trickled into the custody of it all. So it's very, very sad. Jeezy's also claiming that Jeannie Mai removed young Monaco from the jurisdiction of Georgia, which was in the temporary custody that neither of them was supposed to take her out of Georgia. And allegedly the child has been on several long trips to LA Vietnam, New York, Dallas, and Boston. So he's basically saying that, Your Honor, she has spat in the face of the agreed upon legal terms for what the care of our daughter was supposed to look like. As such, she has proven herself irresponsible and unfit to be a primary caretaker. Thus, I, Jeezy, should be the primary caretaker of our daughter. And we're going to see what the judge do.
I mean, that's all we can do at this point because Jeezy ain't playing with her ass.
No, he not playing. He didn't look like he was playing.
Well, may he continue to be. You know, I'm a Jeezy fan.
I like Jeezy, too.
I love Jeezy's music, and I love this
I like him as a
pivot.
businessman.
He's
pivot,
always been
yeah.
a great businessman in music, you know, but just to see this pivot, this Jay Jenkins, you know, pivot that he's making, I love it. Author, he's an author now.
New York Times best book sold better than mine. New York Times. Damn, Jeezy, who your publicist?
For real, because this is like, that's if you're familiar with Jeezy's music and Jeezy's history, that is a hell of a rebrand and a pivot.
Yes, it is.
And so the fact that it is successfully being executed, I think, you know, is
it's a roadmap for many of us because won't God do it?
And Jeezy said, "What you not about to do
is play with my little girl.
You ain't messing up on this motion I got going on
That's
of positivity, and everything else with this bullshit. And if that means I have to be the primary parent, then guess what?
That's what it means. Well, yeah, y'all, it's a lot going on underneath that.
He ain't fucking around.
No, like at all. Like that's why when I saw this wasn't just another
headline, you know,
baby mama drop. No, this wasn't that. This is a statement. This is a clear and concise statement, Dustin, as it relates to, like I said, the updated, what you call it, the new operating system.
Yeah, the iOS update. Yes, okay, because things in the game didn't change,
and people need to really. We ain't gonna beat a dead horse. We done told you once. We done told you twice. Okay.
Now it's on you.
Now it's on you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, senior producer Ashley Hobbs put a question in here that I want to address directly, and that is, what circumstances exist where a parent in a co-parenting situation can take their child out of state, period, right? And the answer is twofold. One is going to be with a consent decree. Yeah. So that is where, you know, we're co-parenting pretty well. And I pick up the phone and I say, hey, Dustin, listen, I got to go shoot Judge Ebony in LA. You know how we do. I'm going to be out there for the full week. I need to take little sweetheart.
Yes.
That's her name. Little
sweetheart. That's right. I call her Sweet.
And I call her Heart. So how about that? Yeah. So
we already co-parent. See? Effectively, that's right.
In harmony. So I need to take a little sweet heart over here to the West Coast with me while I handle this business right quick. Is that cool with you? And you say
fine with me, of course, or I got her, or whatever. You know, whatever you need.
Well, if you say fine with me, then cool. And I'm gonna stand on my business. Fine, Dustin, I'm gonna have my people send your people this consent decree. It's called a consent decree that says little sweetheart can come with mommy to LA for the course of. Because what's not going to happen is you're going to look up and see your baby still in. Well, that, or you look up and you see your baby still in LA 3 weeks later. Yeah. Because that wasn't the agreement.
That wasn't the agreement.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the consent way you can take the child out of state as a co-parent. The other way is you say, no, because that's your right. You are literally as much her parent as I am. I'm going to say that one more time. You are literally as much her parent as I am. Again, gone are the days where the father is a subordinate parent. Yeah. Or a supporting role parent. Fathers are main character energy, ladies.
Absolutely.
Now, he may or may not act like it. That's your choice.
Right.
In terms of you picked him.
Right.
You did pick him.
But he's still.
But according to the law.
Right.
When you come in my courtroom or any judge's courtroom, I'm seeing him with the full rights and privileges in which I'm seeing you, ma'am. I really hope women take this to heart. I really do.
Well, we know that it's changed, so I hope they do too.
I hope they do too. So in that circumstance, if Dustin or the co-parent is adverse to the taking, now we have to go have a hearing. Okay, so now I got to call my lawyer and say, listen, Dustin tripping.
Right.
As usual. No.
Right. bullshit too, because I wouldn't be going through none
I
of
know
that
you
shit.
would. I know you keep it. I
babe,
know how you keep it.
We be so co-parenting. I think it's a missed opportunity for one of the coolest bonds that you can have with a person if you do it right.
If you do it right, but now you're talking about a lot of things going right, Dustin. You're talking about maturity. You're talking about integrity. A lot of times this goes left for a lot of reasons, but the main one is somebody still want to be in romantic partnership with the other person. That's the main way it go wrong. And now it's not that I really have a problem with you taking our daughter to Detroit to see your family.
Yeah.
No, the issue is I'm mad at you.
So now let's get it cooking.
So now no, she can't go. She get the whole time, Mommy, I want to go see cousins. I don't give a damn.
Nope.
You can't go.
That's right.
I'm saying this is the place I can have power. Code. This is the subject. This is the place I can become an obstacle to you and what you want. And so I'm going to exercise that power. That's what ends up happening.
Deep. That's really deep that people feel like that. And it's always at the expense of the kid.
Exactly. Because she's like, well, I don't want to sit around here with your lonely ass. I want to go see my cousins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Yeah. So in that case, I call my lawyer or I go down myself and file, which is normally a mistake, but that's okay. And now I put a hearing on the books to get us in front of a judge in a timely fashion because I got to go film next week. And now we need an adjunct hearing to determine where the judge says, yes, despite your objection, Mr. Ross, Ms. Williams, can take sweetheart. Or the judge might say, how long you gonna be out there, bitch? A week? That ain't nothing. He got her. Go on, make your money and come back. And then you can be a mama when you get back. It could go either way.
Man, just the thought of somebody having that much influence over the decisions that we're making is just crazy to me.
Well, at some point in this season, I'm going to have a further elaboration on certain choices I've made to avoid these very scenarios.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned as this season 3 of Holding Court unfolds.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay. Honey Boo Boo. Honey Boo Boo, Honey Boo Boo, Honey Boo Boo. Okay. Y'all remember Honey Boo Boo? We met her as a wee little girl. I think she's around 6 or 7 years old, and she was a beauty pageant phenomenon.
Yes.
We know that Honey Boo Boo has grown up quite a big deal, and she is now a college-age young lady. And this is all being documented on their new show, or new episode rather, of their show, Mama June, Family Crisis.
I mean,
once again, these mamas.
These networks too, but go ahead.
Well, no, these networks absolutely, and because also these mamas.
All these good ideas sitting around here on ice, and this shit.
This is what they greenlight. Well, they also gave a show to Gerard Carmichael where he's sucking.
Please don't get me started. We need to do. Let's just
say it. Well, we're gonna take a sidebar within the episode because I actually like Gerard Carmichael generally as an artist, and I was a huge fan of Nathaniel. Remember, I texted you when I saw that, and it won an Emmy, and it is, and it goes. But Dustin, help me understand how HBO Max, now called Max, whatever, has decided to cancel not one, not two, but at least 3 major black shows in the last 6 months alone, the last year for sure. They got rid of Black Lady Sketch Show,
Rap Shit,
Sweet Life,
yep.
And I'm sure we're missing some.
Which was an incredible ensemble show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All gone. So that I think as one of the actresses from Rap Shit said, so that we can instead watch Gerard Carmichael suck on a white man. So not that Gerard Carmichael shouldn't have a show, but the content and the nature of the show is as anti-black. Like, I just think there's like a mockery of homosexual lifestyle that's been happening right before our very eyes. But let me not speak on that. But so I want to hear what you think.
No, you don't, because I think that we got sponsors and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so that should give you a window, a portal into my opinion on this matter. I'm all for people doing their thing and being satisfied however they need to, and he has every right. But this mockery, these stereotypes that he's so willingly and willfully perpetuating, right? And adding fuel to that right there is the shit that they talk about when they bring up the agenda. That's what that is. And the industry plant. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Because
this is the industry plant piece.
The black gay experience is so multifaceted, so layered, and it's different for all of us.
Absolutely.
But what he's doing is attributing certain choices to a lack of
options. Is that?
and diving headfirst into a world of sexual encounters and internet dating based sexual trysts on film as a way to define himself and his station in life at this point as a young creative, winning awards and getting attention. Right, he's meeting dates on Grindr, which is a gay dating app.
Oh,
right,
we know what Grindr.
And he's getting dates on there and bringing them on camera as this young black talent is getting ready for the fucking Emmys and asking these randos, do they want to attend the Emmy Awards with him? Yeah. Where he's then offering dialogue on this really layered and complex family situation connected to him coming out that deserves so much of a different
seriousness.
Oh my God! And then you sucking toes.
Well, see, I was looking forward to that part, the part where we do an authentic, serious deep dive on the family component. You're talking about coming out. You're talking about hostility from your family. You're talking about the black church aspect. You're talking about all these things that are very worthwhile exploration points, I would think, to the lived experience of a black man in America, a black gay man in America, the black family, all this stuff, right? But instead, I can't even get to that piece because we're too busy in this series stereotyping and just living up to and inviting, right? Not just participating, Dustin, being the leaders of tropes that continue to plague the dehumanization. I just gotta sit with the dehumanization piece, Gerard.
Come on, right? Like you're leaning into that as a stick almost.
Yeah, well, it's giving. What do I need to do and say to adhere to white comfort? I'm just gonna say it, whatever, because I tell jokes for a living. Yeah, I feel like he is fizzling out creatively, and instead he's positioning his sexuality and his dating life as the focal point. This is the material now,
and framing that as comedy, and ain't shit funny about it. So I have strong opinions about it, but this is a very broad stroke conversation about it. But this shit really needs to be broken down appropriately, because that's not what it looks like.
No.
But anyway.
And those of us who are privileged to know that's what it looks like, there's that. But what is really problematic to me is most people don't have the privilege that I have. They don't have the privilege to be in personal, deep, long-term relationships with the beautiful, fantastic, brilliant black queer men that I know and am in relationship with. And so that, and this is with the network piece, right? Because representation matters, and we talk about that ad nauseum, what you're doing in this particular editorial choice by platforming and greenlighting this type of shit instead of all the other black stories that could be told and need to be told and have yet to be told, you are advancing a scenario where this is the only education, this is the only correlation, this is the only opportunity to humanize this particular experience, and it sucks.
Let's take the sexual shit off the table for discussion, right? There's you've watched this show, so you're familiar with the people that are involved. There's a white man that's a friend of his, okay, that's been introduced to us as a friend of his, who films in a ski mask and black goggles, and they distort his voice, the sound of his voice, to create anonymity for him, because he doesn't want to participate in this machine creating these narratives and all this other shit. But you have so much to say on camera about his Gerard's life, about your distaste for reality television, your distaste for television production and telling these stories. You're allowing this white guy to create a character essentially on your show, literally, in the name of not participating. But he comes on, has so much to say.
But then protecting him,
and not even realizing that this guy is taking advantage of you, okay? Yeah. And creating space for himself in your shit. This is your show. Yeah. That he's creating this character who is against everything that the show is about, and he's saying that
he's a protest character.
Yeah, he's a protest character. Yeah. You know, you don't get to play in this show underneath the guise of being anonymous on a reality show and be so opinionated about everything. If you don't want to be involved in this, don't be involved on it. And Gerard is so damn stupid that he's allowing this shit to happen.
So Honey Boo Boo, her name is Alana. She sits down with her mother, and we're talking about the money. because this is interesting and this is common. Many of you have seen the Nickelodeon documentary.
Right.
I know I watched it start to finish.
I did too.
Where now we're really starting to unpack what has happened to these so-called child stars.
We
right?
have so much to talk about this season, but go ahead.
We're seeing more about these child stars and all of the heartache and trauma and horribleness in which they have endured. I think we all suspected, the Honey Boo Boo of it all was going to end badly. These stories that objectify little girls. And listen, I'm a pageant queen.
Yeah.
Stand in it, love it, whatever. But that was not my experience. We're talking about the full-on objectification and dehumanization of little girls against their will. And praise be to God, that wasn't my lived experience. But here we are with Honey Boo Boo. We all watched it in real time.
Yeah.
What we also knew was happening in real time was Honey Boo Boo was making some money. Honey Boo Boo was working. Okay. They're called child actors and actresses and performers for a reason.
Yes.
These people, and we're hearing even the best stories, right? The good, happy endings. I'm talking about Zendaya. I'm talking about Keke Palmer. I'm talking about Kyla Pratt. These are young women in this case, but we know boys and men do it too. Where they have become the breadwinners of their families at 6, 7 years old.
Yeah.
And everything that comes with that, good, bad, and very ugly. So back to Honey Boo Boo. She, of course, was the breadwinner. I mean, this part of the story and the appeal here, Dustin, was they were, what we call it, what do we say, how are we saying it these days? Economically repressed. Part of white America. I
won't say it, but
I know.
we
don't have to say it because everybody knows.
Yes.
So in this episode, Honey Boo Boo's sister is standing in front of a whiteboard, literally, and doing the math. The math ain't mathing. Well, we gonna see if it do or not.
Crunching
this woman
numbers,
is literally
baby.
crunching numbers. Got the calculator out, doing the math, and right now, at least $35,728 is missing. From what should be there. And that's, depending on where you are in your station in life, $35,000 is a lot of money.
Absolutely.
You can do a lot with $35,000. In this case, including go to college. So the sister points out the missing money. That could have been 2 semesters of the college education that Honey Boo Boo is seeking. Mama June admits that she does not believe that Honey Boo Boo will stick it out, and therefore she doesn't believe that she's going to finish her degree, and that's why she doesn't want to give the money. But I think that's some BS.
What? Who is she?
Well,
she got a crystal ball too?
Let's just get to it. Whether she finishes or not,
what's it to you?
She earned it.
Yeah.
That's the point, right? She earned it. That is her money. And legally, Honey Boo Boo has a claim.
Because isn't there a law that states that a certain amount of that money has to be put up?
So it's called a Coogan account. This is a special trust fund that a bank, a credit union, a brokerage firm is supposed to put at least 15% of the child's earnings automatic draw to protect the child until the child turns 18.
I thought it was higher than that. I didn't know it was 15.
Well, that's a minimum. That's the minimum. And that's just per that statute. I mean, depending on, there's a lot of different ways you could play this, Dustin. And that's why you see a lot of these kids filing for what? Emancipation. Early. You better ask Macaulay Culkin.
Okay. Got to get on down the road.
Listen, Amanda Bynes, I think, got emancipated early because some of these kids were making millions. So they had to go ahead and file for emancipation to keep their family members, i.e. normally the parents, from
pockets.
Spending their whole bag.
Yep.
Because it's like, what do I look like working my entire childhood on these long days? And, it's not cute, where you are working to the benefit of the everybody eating off you. And you're a kid, literally. Yeah. Everybody's mortgage is paid on you. Everybody's car is bought on you. All the bills are paid. The lights are on because of you. And then when you get to be 18 and you say, where is mine? There's no money left. So that's what Honey Boo Boo is saying. Give me my money, Mom. And her mom is saying, if you watch the episode, I smoked it up. And we're not talking about marijuana. Why are you looking at me like that, Dustin?
Her mom is
a drug addict. Oh, yeah. Her mom is a hard, cold crack addict. I just have to say it. And that's not, I'm not saying that in a pejorative, calling somebody a crackhead.
Literally,
like
she was
Ezell.
smoking crack.
She was literally smoking crack. So Mama June, this is not a secret. This is not hidden. This has been a known thing. If you watch Mama June in this series or Honey Boo Boo in its original iteration, we've known Mama June is a crackhead, and that is what it is. Now,
this is new for me.
Oh, this is new for you. Okay, well, you know what?
I didn't.
I love this.
Scroll right on by.
Okay, I love this. I love this for you. I love this that you are learning this in real time.
Right now.
Yeah, and she also had the weight loss surgery too, Mama June.
Okay.
So there's that. Anyway, Between that and the crack use, she has spent up Honey Boo Boo's money. And the point really is, Honey Boo Boo has a legal claim because her mother has breached a duty of care financially to her. That's the basis of that claim. So it's a breach of contract, basically. You, as the mother, were also acting as a manager and a person in charge of her trust.
Right.
And you have fiduciary duty as such.
Yeah.
Mama June. And you've breached said fiduciary duty. And now you got to pay up. So literally, Honey Boo Boo could sue her mom. And I won't be surprised if it goes there. The other piece is she's at least cutting her off. So that's the headline that we're talking about on the docket today, Dustin, is when is it enough of a violation, including a parent, where you say, I'm cutting you off? Because we know that parental estrangement is very taboo.
Yeah, for
when
sure.
You or anybody we know or care about ever say, I'm not talking to my mom, I'm not talking to my daddy, I don't, we not on. People look at you like you have three heads.
They clutch their pearls.
Yeah, because that is not acceptable.
No.
But then I want to know why it's acceptable to rob your child of $35,000
as a crackhead. So no, I think that usurps any, typical hesitancy that you might have, you know what I'm saying, to move forward with that. When your mother is a crackhead stealing from you,
yeah,
you got to
I think
figure
you
that
got
out.
to cut her off.
Yeah.
I think there's no other behavior that is going to provide a remedy at that point. So I think you start with the cutoff, and I think the next step is the lawsuit.
But again, a judgment ain't nothing but the piece of paper.
It is.
Because where the money coming from?
Yeah, but it's one of those. Happy birthday, honey. Here's
You've been
put
served.
something. You gonna put something on this because that's how my birthday gonna be happy.
Wow.
So, Honey Boo Boo, congratulations. You and Mama June have joined Holding Court history as the third white people we've talked about on the show in as many years. Congratulations. You've made it.
Yeah, you made it.
And y'all know me, so y'all know I'm a proud Tar Heel, and I don't do Duke. And also, I got to cover this story because Duke is discontinuing the Reggie Howard Memorial Scholarship. This was a full ride, okay? And I have to say that, Dustin, because all scholarships are not created equally. All scholarships are great. All scholarships are an advantage. But when you start talking about a full ride, this is what it is. That is all of tuition, all of room and board, all and room and board. If you that's the roof over your head and the food that you eat.
Yeah.
Okay. That is oftentimes study abroad programs. That oftentimes is tutoring. That is a comprehensive financial package that says that when you step foot on this campus, all of your financial needs, your books, everything is provided for you. And that, for me, I'm just going to, ain't no shame in my game. That was the only way I was going to be able to go to college, Dustin, was with a full ride.
Yes.
So shout out to Carolina, UNC Chapel Hill, the first public institution of higher learning in America. They gave me the Joseph E. Pogue Scholar. So I'm a Joseph E. Pogue Scholar.
Yes.
A merit scholarship that is very similar to this. It was a full scholarship. It was a merit-based scholarship. They took into consideration if you had financial need, but that wasn't the main priority. So I got a Pogue, Dustin, alongside the kids of dentists, the kids of doctors, the kids of attorneys. So me and Gloria just happened to be a little bit on the free lunch wagon, but we were the exception. We weren't the rule.
Right.
The main thing they were looking at were my SAT scores, my grade point average, and my school leadership. And under that basis, I was awarded a Pogue. And it wasn't just for black students, just like the Reggie Howard Memorial Scholarship was never just for black students. Race was a consideration. And see, these words matter. Because when you go back and you listen to season 2 episode of Holding Court, where I break down extensively the Supreme Court ruling that effectively gutted affirmative action in college as we know it, they always talk about race-based, and how this is a course correction because if we're basing things on race, like admission or scholarships, we're being racist and we're perpetuating the very system we say we want to dismantle. Nah, I'm not going to be responsible for your inability to understand language and words. It's race consideration, not race-based.
Right.
It simply says that race can be one of the many considerations of admissions, or in this case, scholarship, Dustin. And you know what else is considered? SAT scores, grade point averages, class rank, geographical diversity.
So many factors.
Yeah, it means something. If you're going to Duke from New York City or New Jersey or LA or Chicago, epicenters of the best access to education in the country as compared to Roanoke Rapids,
Yeah.
as compared to Flint,
Yeah.
that means something.
Yes.
So I'm disgusted at the fact that Duke has discontinued this scholarship effective immediately. As of the class of 2028, not a single Reggie Howard Memorial Scholarship will be granted ever again. It's done. They've been waiting
to do this.
And who was Reggie? You might ask. Reggie was a black student at Duke. One of the first ones, because that's just what it was. And there were not many black students going to Duke, Carolina, UVA, Michigan, any of those schools prior to the 70s. And during his sophomore year, 1976, young Reggie was killed in a car accident. And he also happened to be the student government president at the time. So he was killed. And to honor that legacy, being one of the first students at Duke that was black, being the first black student government president at Duke, they created this scholarship. In its place, they are bringing the Reggie Howard Leadership Program. The difference there is it will literally not consider race at all. This is what the court wanted. This is what John Roberts wanted. This is what the 6-3 conservative majority Trump appointed. This is what Amy Coney Barrett wanted. This is what Kavanaugh, still alleged rapist, wanted. This is what
Clarence Thomas.
For sure, Clarence Thomas and Gorsuch. This is what they all wanted, and they got it. And so here we are. So we're going to talk a lot more about all of the reversals of black progress as it relates to education, finances, and politics. We're going to talk about the DE&I of it all throughout this season on the show. But I just want to flag that this is what's coming. For those of you that said the affirmative action decision didn't matter to you, it didn't affect you because you weren't really a college type or whatever, and that's fine. College is not the only path to prosperity and success in America. Thank God. And I will be the first to champion that. But so goes this ruling. So goes considerations for grants for vocational programming. You better know that. Oh, you thought you were going to be spared because you're studying general contractor work?
No.
You thought you were going to be spared because you were studying cosmetology? You thought you were going to be spared because you're in barber school?
Learning a trade.
Honey, the race considerations, the scholarships, the grants that support that education are also under attack. And they will use the Supreme Court ruling just like this private college is using a ruling that actually shouldn't mean much to them. But now all the rollbacks of black opportunities for advancement all get to be regressed at the same time under the guise of where the Supreme Court said. That's what's happening in real time.
That's all you can do is just shake your damn head.
Yeah, well, and one could say it's Duke, so now let me stop. And I would love to be petty like that, except for it's not just Duke.
Duke is just starting it.
Duke is just starting it. Duke is just in the headlines today. My alma mater, UNC Chapel Hill, will probably be following suit. I'm probably going to have to be on the road again and going down to Chapel Hill and protesting vehemently. Anything I've ever done that has meant shit in my career doesn't exist without the Joseph E. Polk full academic merit scholarship from Chapel Hill. And so it's very personal to me, Dustin.
As it should be. And it's a travesty. It's terrible. So, we're doomed and damned.
The only thing I'm going to say before we wrap this today is consider ourselves on notice. This is what it is. This is what it's about to be for a minute.
Effective immediately.
So we have to stand into our self-determination as a black people. That says if these systems, these programs, these things that were put in place to try to move the needle and level the playing field just an inch are going to decide they're going to roll back, then we have to go forward. We have to, I'm talking to my SOARs and AKA. I'm talking about the Alphas. I'm talking about the Urban League, the NAACP, the United Negro College Fund. We have to pool our resources and make sure that though any black child that wants to go to college should go to college.
Absolutely.
And it should come out of our pockets as a community. Yeah, I said it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I said it. And that's it. That's all.
Welcome to season 3 of Holding Court, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it. Court is back in session. If y'all didn't know last week, you know this week, damn it.
Now you know.
Now you know.
Okay.
So what you want the people to do, Dustin?
Read their terms and conditions.
Holding Court is produced by Uppity Productions. Host and executive producers here, Ebony K. Williams, yours truly, and the Dustin Ross. Executive producer in Dossie, McCraw. We've also got our senior producer, Ms. Ashley Hobbs. Creative consultant, Jay Kleinberg. And please, 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 if you love the show, and I know you do, follow us on Holding Court and listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any and everywhere you get your podcasts.
That's right.